Good afternoon. Thank you very much for lending me your ears for a couple of minutes and giving me the opportunity to present to you the key features of the Climate Vulnerability Monitor's data explorers and our approach to storytelling around the focus countries, the 5 focus countries of the report. We want the report results being used and seen, and obviously not only the executive summary and the key messages, but also the more in-depth, detailed country-specific projections of climate impacts and risks, the whole wealth of data that may help you understand the challenge a little bit better, or even plan and create a more resilient future for your country. That's why we created the CVM3 online tools. There are 3 of them, one for the biophysical impacts, one for the health risks, and one for the economic implications. So let's see this in action. This is the Biophysical Data Explorer. It can be found, as can the others, through the CVM3 landing page on the V20 website. And when you select a country by clicking on a map or by searching here, you're given a menu of indicators that are grouped by temperature, water, wind, agriculture, and so on. And if you click on one of those indicators, you find a text that is understandable for non-experts and explains what the indicator says, what it is, why is it important for, what it is important for, and how it was calculated. And this graph shows the projected change in the future, including the uncertainty range, and it compares the selected country, like Ghana here, to all the other countries in the world, with these scattered dots below. The value depends on the selected scenario, so you can go below 2-degree path, and on the time slice, so you can go mid-century or end of the century. And things change on the map, obviously. The colors on the map represent the data. If you want to understand more about the choices here, you can click on the information button and it gives you some text to it. With the scattered dots here, you can also find the outliers for every indicator, the outlier countries. For example, with a bad scenario, the countries most affected by reduced maize yields, for example, here are projected to be Egypt and Saudi Arabia. And if you click on it, you can jump to the country. You can also tap into the large body of scientific literature that documents how changes in temperature and precipitation that are observed already today impact human and natural systems, terrestrial and freshwater ecosystems, for example, and cause losses and damage across sectors and regions. And you can dive into these. So now all 92 entries are shown, and if you want to see only those in a specific region, you get them filtered. And this square actually tells you something about the relevance of this publication for what you're looking for. And the link brings you to the publication. The next one is the attributable present impacts section, and it shows that human influence is changing the climate. It visualizes where the trends in temperature and precipitation can be attributed to human influence on the climate. And currently, at least 85% of the global population live in areas for which this is true. And finally, there is also a socioeconomic vulnerability index. It's called GDL Vulnerability Index. And this is driven by socioeconomic, demographic, and infrastructural factors. And obviously, you can zoom out and see how countries are affected, or how vulnerable countries are or will be in the future, and how this differs with the different scenarios. All data can be downloaded. So if you go on data download, you can choose your indicator of interest. You can either download all countries, or say you only want to have, I don't know, Ghana and all the countries around it. And then you get to choose the time slices and the reference data I don't want to have, below 2 degrees I don't want to have, and then you download a CSV file and you can work with the data that may be interesting to scientists, but also to policymakers, I guess. This is available for all data explorers, for economics, for health. And if you go back up here, you go back to the specific explorer. Now I changed to the health explorer. And if you again choose a country, for example, Bangladesh, you can see other indicators, for example, around heat-related impacts, wildfires, risk of disease transmission, and malnutrition. So let's see loss of labor productivity, for example, and you can see that this is very unequally distributed around the world. This is what I'd like to say to the data explorers, and now I'd like to also show you something which is work in progress. We have a website called Stories, Impact Stories, and this is not yet populated with all the 5 countries, Bangladesh, Ghana, Kenya, Philippines, and St. Lucia, but we have something online for Kenya already. And this is, while like the data explorers makes the high quality data from the monitor a little more accessible, we wanted to go a step further with the impact stories. We wanted to show what these numbers mean for people in their everyday lives already today. And to this end, we conducted interviews with, well, farmers, with experts, with journalists that tell about what they can see.
Kwa muda sasa wa miaka kama 10-15 tumeona mabadiliko ya hali ya hewa. Mara mingi mvua tu, wakati tunapotarajia mvua, hiyo mvua inakuja kwa muda mfupi inapotea, ama inanyesha mvua kubwa kwa siku 2-3 inapotea. Hata saa zingine kwa wakati tunatarajia mvua, hiyo mvua tunaikosa kabisa, ama inanyesha sehemu.
Well, this is going to be online in a couple of days, and I invite you to look at that and see what locals have to say on how they are affected and will be affected in the future by the changing climate. We hope that these stories may help people move and take stark decisions on climate mitigation action and on adaptation finance. So please do not hesitate to ask questions by mail in case the internet connection is not good enough for live questions today. Enjoy exploring the tools. I thank you very much for your attention.